show on the road. Let's go out with a bang. We're in our second lockdown, and I know lots has been happening and how we're feeling. And so today's session is all about dealing with your current condition. Anne-Marie, what are you doing?
Listen, I've decided whatever the government is saying ain't got nothing to do with me. That's what I've decided. That is my current condition. Whatever the government is saying has nothing to do with me. You know, like how racism isn't my problem? Corona ain't my problem. Okay?
Everything. So there's so much happening. And I think what we're going to start with is your current condition, where you are. Everybody's in different places. Some people are in a good place, some people are in a bad place, some people are in some people are in elsewhere. But wherever you are, we're starting from understanding about accepting where you are. Because that's the acceptance and being able to accept where we are. That's the big problem. You can't look forward, you can't learn from the situation, you can't even enjoy the present if you don't accept things how they are. First and foremost, acceptance. So your current condition, leading with accepting where you are. And that doesn't mean accepting nonsense. So I want to put it out there. So I'm not saying accept BS, accept that you can't do better or any of that stuff. The acceptance isn't a full stop. But you need to be real and in a reality. And so accepting your current condition is the beginning, because only once you've done that can you start to do anything else. So I think it's important that we spend some time on that. So for example, I'm very much a forward thinker, a planner. Always kind of like, what's the big goal? That's what kind of that's what drives me. What's that next step? What's that moving on? However, you've got to enjoy the moment. And so I think it's important that you understand that, because when you're always trying to get to that goal, and as a woman, it's like shopping, right? You've seen that thing that you always want and you've been thinking about it, whether you will save for it, you've lost weight for that thing, you've done whatever it is. But up until you get it, nothing feels like it's worth it. All of your focus and your energy is going on that thing. And then once you get it, it's a little bit of a downer. It's not the same. So the amount of happiness or enjoyment or pleasure that you get is just for a moment. And it's gone. And then you need something else to look forward to or get to. And that's because you're not in the moment. You're not in the moment. You're somewhere else. So that's the one side. So sometimes that can be just as bad as the other end often, which ends and leads to the depression, the looking back all the time. That could be, it's just as bad. It's the same as when you look back all the time and you're thinking about regretting what I didn't do, what I should have done, or how terrible that thing was. And again, you live in it was 5 years ago since that thing happened and you're still there 5 years later in that, beating yourself up about something that happened all that time ago. You didn't just accept it then, dealt with what the consequences were, learned from it and moved on. So I want us to really, this year has been crazy. It has, like, nobody could have predicted this year. There's just been one thing after another, and obviously naturally we've had the two real big things that have happened, but it's been one thing after another. And we have to accept that. We have to accept whatever the consequences are or whatever the outcomes are of those things and how they've impacted our lives. They were out of our control. And yes, we may have done a few things like, okay, maybe we needed to be a little bit more prepared or whatever. But ultimately, that was out of our control and we are where we are now. And so we have to accept that. We can't do anything about it. But what we can do is we can decide to identify what do we have control of in our current situation. What do we have control of in this very current situation, not what would you like, okay, not what should you have done. Just take stock of your real where you currently are, not in comparison to anybody else, but where are you now, and what can you do to make the most of it in this particular moment until we are out of this kind of phase and space. Like what can you do, because we don't know how long we're going to be on it. And then you don't want to be in that same situation when you think, oh, do you know what? I spent that whole time during that corona period or whatever else happened, lying around or putting weight on or being upset or being sad. And then later on, you realize you could have done so much more. So I'd say acceptance. Anne-Marie, what would you say one thing you'd say you said,
Babe,
whatever the government says,
you
got
didn't say
nothing to do.
one thing, right?
What's one that I think about give us something that you have accepted?
But I just want to go over what you said because I don't want anyone to miss the point. And something that you always say to me is, what do you think are the key points that has been highlighted when we have our conversations? So today I decided, you know what? I'm going to write down some stuff, especially when you're talking, right? Because sometimes we can miss stuff. So what I heard you say was acceptance, one, right? To stay in the moment, as in now, live for now. And I heard you say, what do you have control over? And those are like three key points that when people are feeling, as you said, depressed or overwhelmed, they forget. Like everything is not all bad. Something bad is happening, but it's not all bad, right? Are you able to accept where you are right now, stay within that moment, and recognize what you have control over? Girl, I mean, did everybody hear?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, did everybody hear? Please send your love hearts if you did hear, because sometimes I think we can't put things into perspective. And I feel like you said three valuable things that someone can take away today.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Me, what do I want to say?
No, wait. What's one thing you say in this current situation you've accepted?
Oh, what have I accepted in this current situation? Oh, sorry. What have I accepted in this current situation? It's got nothing to do with me. I'm sorry, Corona has nothing to do with me and my life. Right? And one of the points that I was going to say is live your life. Do not put your life on hold. So my thing that I've taken is it ain't got nothing to do with me. That's their business. Sorry, ain't got nothing to do with me. I've decided you're not going to give me anxiety and high blood pressure. Mm-mm.
I remember, yeah, that moment right there, yeah, you literally reminded me of one of the grannies. You know when they would just be on one of their things, cursing, and then just drink their tea. Very seriously.
Listen, today I came prepared. I'm sipping, right, my tea, because they're not going to give me stress, high blood pressure. You know, obviously I'm a counselor, and the amount of people that were vulnerable within the first lockdown and at high risk, right, due to abuse, their living situations, the poor children, what they had to go through. Can you imagine? You know, all we had to deal with was our parents telling us we couldn't go out and play. Do you know what I mean? And maybe a dog running after you if you decided to play knockdown ginger. These kids were locked up in their homes like they were prisoners, right? You had people lose their livelihood, their business, lose their jobs, lose their homes, right? You had people's anxiety and depression go through the roof. No, Corona is their business. I'm not. It's their business. their business. It ain't for me.
Okay, so your current condition then.
My current condition is choice. Choose who you want to be and how you want to live. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. Choose. I've decided that I am going to live my life to the fullest, whatever that might be. I don't really care what they want to say, right? I will take one flight to Barbados. They are accepting English people, British people, right? I will go back to Jamaica. I don't care. But what I'm not going to do is feel like I am restricted and I don't have choice. So for me, it's choice. My business is open, right? I am seeing my clients face to face and I'm seeing them online. I've got enough distance so that people can feel safe within my therapy room and my office space. And I'm not doing that. I'm not opening up myself to have clients and then go, do you know what? No, that's it. Some people don't have a private space at home to talk. What would I be doing if I decided that I didn't really care about that and I'm just gonna like shut down my business? For me, that doesn't work. So I've decided that I'm choosing to live my life.
You said something there, I want to try and support people who might be having trouble being less flexible with their thinking in terms of, because they may have just heard you say, "Oh yeah, that's good for you, Anne-Marie. You've got choice. You can afford to go to Barbados. You've got family where you can go to Jamaica." So what about people whose current condition maybe are more severe? They're genuinely more severe, and like you said, they don't have a private space. They don't have the support network. So they're seeing it from a place that's a little bit more dreary. What would your advice be for those people?
My advice is choose to live. Choose to live. Do not be restricted by anyone. Don't allow your mind to restrict you. Choose to live, right? If you feel like you need someone to talk to, and you don't have anyone to, or even if you do, you want to have a private safe space, go to counseling. If you feel like your business is struggling, get a coach. Don't take it all on yourself. Get someone to help you clear out all of that stuff in your mind. Don't see your business struggling and just go, do you know what? It's Corona. That's it. I'm packing it all in. No. Get a coach. If you're struggling with home teaching, get a tutor. Go on YouTube, find the learning, the programs, whatever. Like, push it out, right? You know, one of the things that I don't even know who told me this, and I'm sure you do this as a coach as well, right? No, I'm sure we've spoken about this. Now, what is worth your time, right? So you could think that, oh my God, there's so much going on and I'm so overwhelmed. I've got to clean the house, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, right? Now, for me, if I put it into perspective, right? For example, would I spend 1 hour killing myself to wash my car, right? That it would cost me 10, 15 pounds to outsource it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, right? Someone else can do it. And in that hour, I could sit down, I could make a plan, I could write in my journal, I could sit down and just have a breather, or I could work and earn money, or make a plan to earn money, or make a plan to make my life easier. I'm not trying to stress myself out, right? If I know that I can pay £10 an hour for someone to come and clean my house, why am I going to spend 4 hours stressing out myself? Don't do it. Try to prioritize. What is the things that I I'm in control of and I have to do right now, right? What things, like you said, Martha, well, I said, you said that bit. I said, what things can I outsource? You don't need to do everything. Can you get a coach? I mean, there's so many avenues out there. Do not wait on NHS. Please, I beg you. Don't. Yeah? It's
You
one
see
in a week. It's
what
one.
I get from you, yeah, it's true. So is that and this is what I say, and it goes back to that victim thing that we said. My biggest thing is that we need to understand that we are not powerless. And what we do is what you do when you get into that victim mode where you see all of the reasons why you can't do something, or you see all of the reasons why you can't help yourself, tell yourself and you believe that you are powerless. And that is why I say accept where you are, focus on what you can control, and let go of the other stuff. Because you are powerless with what you can't control. You ain't got no control of the weather. You're powerless, but you've got control of the heating in your house.
Mm.
Right?
But another thing that you would say is, right, you are powerless as in you can't control the weather. But I swear to you, the one thing that you need in life to have power over and nothing else matters is this.
Yeah.
Your mind.
Mm-hmm.
No one can take that from you.
Yeah.
Right? Your power is in your mind. Can I think of this differently? Where
100%.
do my opportunities lie? Oh God, it's freaking raining. All right, think of something else. Human beings are resilient, right? You have the capacity to do anything you put your mind to. Do not limit yourself.
Definitely. And it's important but that's why that's important. That's why not focusing on those things that you don't have control over, because what you end up telling your brain is, I am powerless. So you then confirm any sort of limiting beliefs that you have. So because if you're looking at all of the things that you don't have control over and you can't do anything about it, what you're programming in there and what you're saying is I'm powerless. I don't have no control. I can't do anything. So when you then look at but then when you look at a situation that requires you to do something, you're already in that space of I am powerless. So ignore the things you do not have control of. You don't have control of them anyway. So there is no point in you focusing on them. Focus on the things that you have control of. And that's what I do with everything. Any sort of challenge or anything that comes up, you've got to make a choice. So when you come through things, and when we're talking about our current situation, first and foremost, let me just put it out there: life isn't fair. We go about trying to search for this life is fair thing. Life isn't fair, because if it was fair, there would be so many other things. So life isn't fair. So let's start from that point. So what you've got to think is am I going to spend my time feeling sorry for myself or fighting the fact over something I can't control? Life ain't fair. Or am I going to deal with the cards that I have been dealt and play the best game possible? And the only way you can do that is by focusing on what you have control of. You have control of that. So anything that happens to you and it's out of your control, it's happened. So it's kind of, you know what it's like? You know when a child falls over, you know sometimes when a baby falls over really hard, but you don't, you know when they fall over and you look at them and you don't kind of like comfort them straight away, because you know that they probably didn't really hurt themselves, but if you make a big deal out of it, they're gonna cry. So you kind of watch and see, did they really feel pain? Or is it the shame or the expression that they're expecting? And if you leave them and you don't make a big deal out of it, or you just try and laugh it off, they often don't cry. And it's a very similar situation with things that happen to us. Okay, so when you're dealing in your whatever that might be, okay, and it could be down to this situation, it could be down to I can't even begin to imagine the things that were about to happen or you should have done through this whole year. Okay, I can't even begin to imagine the way it has made people have to pivot. And some people have pivoted during this time. Some people have looked at what this has happened, seen gaps, and really utilized them. And other people have become real victims of it. The same situations. And
Yeah,
so
I feel about victims.
yeah, so that's why it's very important for you to realize whatever happens, someone slaps you in the face, you had zero control of that person. They slapped you in the face. What you have control of is how you deal with that. Okay? That is exactly what you have control of. So with the slap, you might have their handprint and it's there. It's not going to last forever. But what you do next, how you deal in that situation, you have control of that. And that's on you, because sometimes the biggest thing that happens in periods like this, particularly when we're dealing with travesties and negativities and things that are just generally hard, and the person that's dealing with it, sometimes when we call that person to take responsibility, some people say, well, why are we now victim blaming? Or why are we now expecting the victim to do something? No. And I say it, you are only a victim if you allow yourself to be a victim in that sort of circumstance. You are the victim of the initial act.
Yeah.
But once that thing happened afterwards, anything else that happens, if you remain a victim, that was your choice.
Exactly.
That was your choice.
You can be victimized. You don't have to become a victim or exist as a victim.
Yes. 100%, 100%. And that for me is one of the biggest things that I don't stand by. And when I speak to people and people give the whole, oh, it's okay for you, Martha, I know, because you're strong, or you're tough, or you can handle it, or what is it, or you're heartless. I let people know that's so far from the truth. That is so far from the truth.
What is that? The thing is,
but the
the
reason why I don't get it is it's far from the truth. The truth actually is I'm actually very sensitive. I'm extremely sensitive. And because I'm so sensitive, I need to protect myself in a manner of I cannot let any sort of anything just kind of get in there that's going to impact on me and make me feel that. So I make sure I hold people to account around me so that they're not going to put me in a position where I'm now feeling bad for telling you no or something for a situation that you put yourself in. So because you knew, and people, I say this, okay, lots of times, okay, it's not on our forefront in the negative way or the manipulative way that some people can be, but often people are very cognizant and aware that other people should have sympathy for you, or that they will have sympathy under certain guises. So they will then more likely kind of feel like, well, if I go to you with a problem and you know that it's with me and my daughter that you need to help, because it's an innocent child, you're going to be more likely to help me than if it was just me. So I like to make sure that I put it out there in the position that I'm more than happy to help you, but please don't come at me when you are actually not taking responsibility for your situation, and you're going to now pull at my heartstrings to get something.
Yeah.
People can do that. So it's not that I'm heartless, but it's that I'm aware that all of the freedoms and liberties I have, everybody else has.
Right. And you've got boundaries.
Everybody else has them, and I've got boundaries. And so, but I know that I'm in control of my situation. Yes. And at the end of it, I have to decide, regardless of what's happening, regardless of what happened, regardless of whatever this thing is going on, I have to decide, how am I going to deal with this moment? And what's going to be the best thing for me to do? Take control of that in order for me to be happy, right, and be good.
So I am Iron Man says the strongest people go through the toughest situations. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say I disagree, but I kind of do. But
why do you disagree?
Because I think human beings as a whole go through different situations, and I think that we're all resilient. I think it's a mindset thing, right? It's about the power of the mind. I don't feel like, oh, so because you're really, really weak, a lot of things don't happen to you.
No,
But then again, and also, I don't believe that, I don't really necessarily believe that weakness, or it seeming like on the outside that weakness is a bad thing, because there's strength, or vulnerability. There's
no,
strength.
vulnerability. Yeah, definitely. I was going to say vulnerability. No, so I agree with you to a degree, but I say that in the sense of what you're saying is true. I believe we are all strong, or all have the capacity to be strong, and where I say it all the time, the whole reason why we do this is about unlocking your inner greatness. This isn't for particular people. It's that we see and believe that everybody is great,
Everyone.
and the thing that stops us often is our internal limiting beliefs. And I think, though, I agree with that point of the strongest people go through the toughest times, but I think it's the ability for those people to accept, or having gone through those processes and learned from it and dealt with it in a particular manner.
Let
And
me
so,
just read. Oh God, what's happened? Let me just read what Iron Man said. He said that's how they become strong. But
yeah,
weak people don't ever see that evolution. They just
yeah,
see the end result of success and strength.
yeah. I agree. That's what exactly it. That's exactly it, right? So you've had a situation that's really challenging and very tough. And by the end of it, when you come out of the other side, everyone says, "Oh, you're so strong, you're so great, you're so good and everything." And it's like, no, actually going through that process is what made me strong. And if you don't go through that process, you never get to go through that level of about. I agree. Evolution, I agree.
Listen, all I know is, right, people are too nearsighted, right? And they only look at the outcome. They
Mhm.
have no idea what anyone is going through mentally or physically, right? Because they are only looking at the outcome. So when you come in and you close your door and you wrestle with yourself, whatever it might do, I don't know, scream in your pillow, break down, have to have long baths, talk to your friend for hours about the same thing, right? No one knows what you're going through. No one knows that you gave up 100 times, but realized actually I can't give up. So
Mhm.
you just kept on moving because the alternative would be more unsatisfying and more soul destroying. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, your soul, your inner self is so huge, so powerful, right? And all it wants is some light. Your soul doesn't want to be dimmed down. All it wants is light. Allow yourself, have compassion for your soul, and just let yourself be. Stop restricting yourself because Jack said X, because Boris Johnson said this,
Mhm.
because my mom or my friend. Mm-mm. The minute someone can walk in my shoes,
Yeah. True that.
then I'll be like, but I'm telling you, 100% nobody in this planet, in this world, can walk in my shoes. And I
Nobody can
guarantee
walk in
you,
any of
most
our
people
shoes.
didn't want to. Most people wouldn't want to. You've got to live your life. Yeah. Risk assess. Your life is a risk assessment, right? Weigh up and live. Make choices. Don't do this to yourself and say, oh, I have to isolate and restrict and I can't go outside because Boris Johnson said there is a lockdown. Mm-mm. Get your armor, right? I don't care what it is that you want to do. If you want to wear your gloves outside, go ahead. I mean, I haven't seen no one do that. But imagine the first lockdown, everybody had on gloves. Listen, I can't wait for December the 2nd.
No, but I think something very interesting, well, what you said there that I want people to home into. and take away something that you can do. And a big thing for me is when we talk about business, when we talk about careers and those sorts of things, we have tangible steps and actions that you should take. But whenever we talk about our life, it's never like that. It's never like that. If I said if you're preparing for a job, I'd say go search the job descriptions, write down, identify what evidence you can evidence against it. You know, if you were doing your business plan, I tell you to do all these things, and it's the same for your life. And that point that you said is look at the different options that are available to you. And I'm going to say this helps you with your ability to have flexible thinking, because flexible thinking is one of the key attributes that are going to help you come to sensible, realistic decisions in times of challenge, because you'll get an opportunity to hear all of the voices in your head. You're going to hear all of the voices in your head. Don't kind of dim any of them, because if you don't it's that, you know how it is, again, naughty child. The child wants to scream and shout and be heard, and you're not going to let nobody rest until they're heard. So guess what you do? You let the child be heard, because once it's heard, it's next. So I'm saying, take this moment in your current present situation of accepting where you're at and accept all of the voices in your head. So accept those negative voices. Hear what it's saying, get it out of your system, give it an outlet. That's what it's saying. Write that down, but just don't stop there, because it's true. It's true. This year sucks because I was meant to be going to Jamaica for Christmas. So it sucks. Yes, it's true. It
Man,
sucks.
get on the plane and go about your business.
It prevented me from doing that, right? So that sucks. That is true. Let me get it out there. Let me get it out of my system. And now once it's gone, I can go on to other things. Okay, because what else happened this year? What else was I able to do? What else am I going to think about doing? Write down all of those things. And then there's a decision, like you're saying, decide what it is you're going to do. Once you have written down your current situation, all of it, this is everything that's happening to me because it's yours, and different people are going to have different experiences, okay? So you've written down all of these things that are happening to you, and then you're going to make a decision. Okay, so what am I going to do about this stuff? What am I going to do? Well, what things, break it down further. What things in here do I have control over, and what things do I not have control over? And the things you don't have control over, get a big black marker and cross them out so you can't see them anymore, because you have no control over them. So cross them out. And then it leaves you with the things that you have control over. And those things that you have control over, how important are they to your happiness, your life purpose, your passion, your moving forward, your next step, what you want to do? How important are they? And then you use that to start prioritizing. What thing on here, what thing in there causes you either the most pain, so you need to fix it so that pain's gone, or which one gives you the most joy that you want to replicate? Okay, they're the ones that you focus on, because they're going to be the ones that the decisions that you need to be making first. They're the decisions that you need to make first in your current situation that you have control of. That's all about reducing you having any sort of pain and trying to increase your happiness. That is a step that empowers you
to get things done. Yeah. I want to ask everyone a question, right? Has life stopped? Has time stopped? Is the seconds and the minutes still going? Are you still breathing? I mean, if you're not, type no.
I'm really.
This is how real it is. Have you stopped breathing? Type no. Or yes, if you have stopped breathing, so that I know. Right? I will know if your limbs are working on some kind of magnetic force, right? Because as far as I'm aware, life is still going, right? The seconds are ticking, the minutes are ticking. We started at 8:30, it's 19 minutes past 9, right? So time is still going. You need to ask yourself why you are not. You need to ask yourself why you are stagnant. You cannot. Oh, another question. Can you bring back time? If you can, type yes. Let me know.
So
Because
listen, you want to be careful, Anne-Marie, if you start bringing out some people that tell you that they can move time.
all right, type yes. Because I want your number because you can make me money. Type yes, right? Because if you have the power to do all of that, then I understand, right? But if you don't, right, that means that you are working from the laws of the land. Yeah, you are working from the laws of the universe. You are working from Mother Nature itself. This is not the first pandemic.
It's not going to be the last.
Did you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the first. Our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and we can go even further on, lived through a pandemic. They lived through bloody war.
Yeah.
What is your damn excuse?
Listen. On that
Listen,
note, Anne-Marie, on
unless
that
you
note,
put me in
actually,
a hole, my brain is ticking. That means that something has to be done.
yeah, what you said about our parents and our grandparents, as we know, well, those of you who will know, Daddy Sherwood is 81. He's like the love of my life. And when Corona hit, to be fair, he was the only person I was worried about because clearly he's in that group. And those of you who know me will know that Daddy Sherwood, so my gallivanting and loving to be out there comes from Daddy Sherwood because he is the original gallivanter. He don't know how to stay in his yard. He don't know the meaning of the word. And I remember all the various times we would always be cussing him. Dad, stay in the house. Where are you going? Why are you not on here? Da, 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 da. Blah, 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 blah. And then when I used to go and see him and it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon and my dad's sleeping, I'd be worried. I'm like, Dad, why are you sleeping? Because he's strange, right? It's not like him. So now I'm worried because I'm thinking, well, if he's sleeping, he might be sick or you might, all of these things. So I'm like, so then I said to myself, you see, you might be a boss. Because when the man was on the road gallivanting, you're cussing the man for not being on the road. Now he's in his house sleeping, you're worried. Do you understand? So I was like, okay, stop, fix yourself. So now me, when everyone says, how's daddy? I'm like, from my dad is on the road gallivanting, he's okay. Yeah, he's okay. So when this situation happened, Mr. Vulnerable Group, where do you think Hezekiah Sherwood was? Hezekiah Sherwood was on the road, still doing his thing like normal, going to his bookie shop, going to his go. And in fact, I think they may have closed the allotment the first time round, so he couldn't go. He was a bit annoyed, but still doing everything that he was doing. So and then literally, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the biggest joke. The biggest joke is we had role reversal because I call my dad almost every day. I call him, and then there were different times that I'll call him, but I think at this time, I think I was calling him in the afternoon, like in that time. And then what my dad started doing is he started calling me first in the morning. And then so one day I thought, what's going on here? Because I mean, my dad does call me, but I was like,
He wants
so
you out of his business.
No,
because problem, not him.
No, what he done was my man seriously done the whole. He'd call me in the morning, so the call of the day was done. Yes. So then he could go about his business and he'd think, catch him.
Yes.
Right? But no, you can't outsmart me. You can't outsmart me. You get catch. So I said, oh, Daddy, this is what you're doing. I see. Because one time, I think one time I even called him and I turned up at the house. I see my dad leaving. I'm like, Dad, where are you going? Where are you going? So then one time I was proper upset because I'm worried. And as in,
no.
I'm trying to stay away from him, trying to stay away from him so that he's safe. And I'm worried and I'm like, Dad, where are you? Why are you not in the house? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then this is what settled me. He said, I've lived my life and I'm not answerable to the government. Now, I'm not answerable to the government. My dad has said that from the beginning of life. Okay, so fine. But when he said, "I've lived my life," I was just like, okay. And so the amount of things that went through me, I was just like, okay, so I'm here worrying, stressing myself, and you're out here doing
What should you be doing?
carefree. He's out
What
here
should you be
carefree doing
doing?
whatever because
What
he's
should
lived his
you be
life.
doing? No, no,
But
no.
then,
What should you be doing?
no, but wait,
What
Amarie,
should
wait.
you be doing? Answer me. What should you
Wait.
be doing? Because that's the point that I made. What should you be doing?
The same thing.
Which is what?
Living my life carefree.
Okay, then.
Right. But so hold on. So I said to myself, do you know what? So but at first, I was upset, I was hurt, I was angry. I was like, so you're out here just trying to die, trying to kill yourself, yeah, whilst
That's not
I'm
what
here
the Bible
worrying.
said.
And then I realized, then I said to myself, but no, he's correct. And he's basically saying to me, and he said it, he said, listen, he's lived all of his life and he's going to continue to live his life and he's not scared of dying. And I appreciate the fact that he has lived a long life. And, he's got grandchildren, he's got his amazing daughter, fine. But the point is the thing with this pandemic has been that genuinely people have died. And genuinely there's a risk of people dying. And that has been the biggest thing that has caused the most problems. But
Yes, but let's put it into perspective.
hold on, wait. But the only thing we can guarantee in life is that people are going to die. None of us are going to live forever. So the only thing we can guarantee is that we are going to die. So that doesn't mean that we try and put other people at risk or we be careless or any of those things. But what it means is you need to make the most of your current situation and your life because tomorrow is not promised. It is not promised. Exactly. So again, when you have a program and a situation and things are happening, okay, and the moment you hear about death, our natural reaction is to go into that fear mode and do the most extreme things. And when you're scared and you're fearful, your ability to make sensible, logical decisions is reduced. It is reduced. So what I'm saying is there is absolutely, positively no point in all of us being alive and anxious and scared and depressed and not living our life to our fullest. There is no point. What was the point? You're scared of dying, but you're not living. So what is the point? So this situation that we're going through is crazy and it's terrible. And there's a real risk there. And there's a real danger there. So yes, be cautious and do all those things. But do not go to the point where you do not live your life. Make the most of this current situation. Always think about yourself as though if this was my last day to live, or if I had died and I went back to myself, how would I like to say I lived this moment? And take that from somebody who is asthmatic, so in a dangerous group, who has a vulnerable father, right? And understands that. Take that from someone who's experienced that, and take that from an elderly person themselves who is doing it. We're not saying don't be safe or don't be careful. There's a difference between being safe and careful, though, and not living your life. And we get through this moment, and you've been able to face, fearless. It's not about being fearless. I'm not fearless. So some people look at me and think, oh, Martha, it's fine, I'm not fearless. So it's not about that. Look, our biggest fear right about now, the point that we could die, look our biggest fear in the face and walk through that and take appropriate actions. That's literally the thing I'm ending on.
I think that, or I feel, because I don't like to think, that's like a lot of work. I feel that we need to make a choice. And there's only one choice. You choose to live or you choose to die. Up to you, right? Now, you don't want your mind to go, right? And so you need to choose to live. And that means that you have to start thinking differently, right? You can't allow yourself to be restricted, to be closed off, to do this thing where you don't make choices, you don't do the thing that you want to do, because basically what you're saying is I'm dying. Yeah, your mind is dying, right? If your mind is dying, it will bring you illness, right? Have you ever thought about it, where you're thinking about corona, you're thinking about this, next, and the third, and all of a sudden you've got symptoms because you're placing it in your mind. You're allowing your mind to collapse and die around you. You can't do that. You can't. Yes, there is a real risk, but life in itself is a risk, right? More people are dying of other illnesses. There's cancer, right? There is other flus that people are dying from, all different types of diseases. There are things that are actually happening. There are people that can't actually get to the hospital because of corona that have other sicknesses, right? There are moms bringing babies into the world by themselves because they can't get to the hospital. Put your life into perspective, right? As Martha said, what can you do? Make a choice. Choose to live, right? Do not sacrifice your mind on this idea that corona is going to kill you. Because what's going to happen is that your mind is going to fail before that even comes to your vicinity. Choose to live, and that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, we are more resilient than anyone or anything you could even imagine, or you've been told. We've lived through a lot worse, right? Do not go into 2021 thinking that 2020 was a disaster and everything was completely horrific. Choose to live.
Thank you. And on that note,
we will.
This is our 2020 exit.
See you in 2020,
but we will see you in 2021 with some more nuggets about you unlocking the greatness within. Thank you. Peace out.